Hi guys, James at RampantLionReviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are going to head over to the Czech Republic once again, and this is yet another one of the beers that I brought back with me from my recent trip over there. So this time we're going to go to the eastern part of the country. We're going to go to Moravia, to Brno, which is supposed to be a really nice city. Unfortunately I didn't get the chance to visit it while I was there, and we're going to have a look at another one of the kind of American style craft breweries that has popped up over there. So for this one we're going to have a taste of a beer from Lucky Bastard, or Pivovar Lucky Bastard to give them their full name. This one is the India, as the name suggests. It's an India Pale Ale IPA, and it comes in at 6.7%. So it should be a really interesting beer, this one. This was recommended to me by the guys from Los Bastardos in Olomouc when I was there. They've got a little beer and home brewing shop just along the road, and they recommended that I try this beer. So it should be a really good one. They had some really nice beers and whiskies and stuff in their bar, so definitely looking forward to this. And as always, I hope you guys enjoy my take on this beer. Those of you watching in Czech so far seem to have enjoyed my take on some of these Czech beers, so hopefully you enjoy this one as well. And as I say, I've certainly enjoyed tasting them on the channel for you. So anyway, as is usual with my reviews then, I'll tell you a little bit about the brewery. If you want to get straight to the tasting, of course, just fast forward. All the usual links are in the description below. That's the brewery website, the link to my other reviews that hopefully I can do in the future from Pivovar Lucky Bastard. Very first time I'm trying one of their beers, of course. There's all the usual social media. If you want to see more beer reviews, do please consider subscribing to the channel. The whole channel, of course, has a geography-based tagging system, so you can go into the homepage and search for beer based on country, city, state, county, prefecture, whatever it is you're interested in. Do check out the playlist of beers from different countries. There is one there for all the Czech beers that I've reviewed for you, and that will be added to over the next little while. And as always, please do get in touch and let me know some of the other beers and breweries that you guys would like to see me review. It's always great to hear from you guys that are watching the videos, and the support that you show the channel is hugely appreciated. So anyway, to tell you a little bit about Lucky Bastard then. So as I mentioned to you earlier, Pivovar Lucky Bastard are based in Brno in Moravia, which is in the kind of southeastern part of the Czech Republic. And the company was founded back in 2013 by Jan Germela, who's a beer blogger and home brewer, and he runs the website Pivní Recenky, which literally translates into English as the beer review. And I do apologise if any of these Czech pronunciations in this video aren't quite right. It's quite a difficult language to get your head around. But the brewery is named actually after another Brno brewery that disappeared during the economic crisis in the 1930s. But this original Lucky Bastard brewery was founded in 1898, and it was brewing around 200,000 litres of beer per year at its peak, and it was based on the corner of today's Kotlarska and Stefanikova Street in the city. But rather than following the idea of resurrecting an old brand though, this brewery actually focuses on more kind of modern brewing practices and producing the American and British styles of beer. So like I say, they are more of a kind of American style brewery, and there's quite a few of these popping up in the Czech Republic today. It's kind of similar to what I've seen already going on in Germany, and that's one of the things when it comes to like Belgium, Germany and Czech. Countries with very, very talented and very, very skilled brewers are now starting to focus on these kind of American style beers that have never ever really been brewed in these countries, and they tend to do a pretty damn good job of them in my experience. So it is cool to see them trying lots of different things, of course. But as of 2017, Pivovar Lucky Bastard is equipped with a 1500 litre brew kit, and the brewery is based in a former maltery in the Kotlarska area of Brno, which is kind of just to the north of the centre when I was having a quick look at the map. But they've got 6 different beers in their core range. They've got a pale ale, there was a black ale there as well, one that was called Cocoa, which I think is a stout, and there was this guy here. So they've got 6 main beers. They do some collaborations. If you check out the Rate Beer page, they've got some collaborations in there, a few kind of seasonals and specials and stuff like this as well. But they're one of the, you know, they're quite a young brewery, as I say. I think it was 2013 they were founded back in. And it was in 2017, I think, that they actually started to upgrade their facility and things like that. Until late 2016, they were brewing on really quite a smaller scale than they are now. So hopefully they continue to grow. And as I say, this was one that was recommended to me by the guys at Los Bastardos in Olomouc, where I was doing some teaching over in the Czech Republic. So yeah, that's all you really need to know about the brewery just now. I'll put their Facebook page in the description below, where you can keep up to date with all the kind of latest goings on at the brewery and stuff like that. And you can check out their website as well. So yeah, let's leave it at that for just now. Let's actually get on to the tasting of this beer itself. So yeah, I'll just let you have a little look at the artwork on this one. So as you can see, it's kind of done a little bit like a tuxedo. I really do like the artwork that they have on these beers, and from what I remember of the other ones that I saw, the artwork on all of them is quite similar. I think the suit on the label changes style a little bit, and it's usually a different colour of writing and stuff like that, if I'm remembering correctly. But yeah, nicely presented beer, this one. You can see a nice tuxedo thing there. On the bottle cap, you do have the nice hop flower there, but this one is a 0.75 litre, 750 millilitres. There you can see, this brewery is also part of the Czech craft beer network as well, which I think encompasses a few different breweries, and Jan Germela is actually quite heavily involved in that. From what I was gathering on the article that I was reading. But yeah, nicely presented beer, this one. So I guess without further ado, let's get it out and get on with the tasting then. We'll see how we get on with this beer. Yep, there we are. Nice smoky opening, and we'll get it out and into the glass. You can smell some of the nice kind of fruity notes from this beer just as we open it up. We'll just be careful with it for the moment. Yeah, that should do for just now. Yeah. So yeah, as you can see, and as you would expect from an IPA, it's poured a nice kind of rich, sort of goldeny yellow colour. There's a solid finger and a half of a frothy, I would say, if I put it under the light, I would say slightly creamy coloured head on this one. One or two big bubbles sticking towards the side of the glass, and quite a few little ones just heading up towards the bottom of that head there. But overall, it does look really nice. And if I put my fingers behind the glass, you can see there is a nice bit of kind of haze to this beer. It's not really transparent at all, to be quite honest with you. So let's take a closer look at the aroma then and just see how we get on. You can smell a little bit of kind of gooseberry or mango or something coming off this beer just as you bring it out of the bottle. Ooh, yeah. It's kind of interesting. This beer, it's got a really quite almost perfumey smell to it. Yeah, it leans, the aroma of this beer definitely leans towards the kind of fruity, juicy side of things, but you can smell a little bit of that kind of Czech malt base in there. And that was one of the things I talked about when I was reviewing Pivovar Matuška as well. It was really cool because it had this kind of proper American IPA thing, but it had that almost traditional Czech malt base to it. So I do wonder if this one will be a little bit kind of similar to that. But yeah, with this beer, when you sugar it up a little bit, there's a little bit of grapefruit in there, but not too much. I think some passion fruit's coming out, some kind of pineapple, and I think some oranges as well. Yeah, I think definitely when you go a bit further back from it and waft it like this, the old chemistry waft as we were always told to do with things like ammonia in the lab, you know, when you're a little bit further back from it, you do get a bit of a kind of tangerine-y, juicy orange out of the beer. And when you go closer into it, you start to get the more kind of tropical notes out of the beer. Definitely. There's definitely a bit of orange to that. I have to say that straight away. I wonder if there's a little bit of passion fruit in there. Passion fruit, pineapples. I'm not sure about the mangoes, but the malt base that's coming out of this beer is quite interesting as well. You can definitely get a little bit of a brown, not a brown bready, a sort of white bready quality. It's almost a little bit like kind of bread and butter, to be honest with you, the aroma that's coming out of the beer. A little bit of biscuity sweetness in there as well, definitely. But overall, it's quite a, yeah, it's quite a nice beer. I have to, it does smell quite nice, this. It's definitely got that kind of traditional Czech malt base to it. But on top of that, you get some of these nice grassy kind of floral hops, good little bit of juicy fruit coming out of the beer as well. But overall, you know, it does smell really quite nice. Yeah, if you sugar this beer up, the malt base really does have this kind of bread and buttery quality to it, which is nice. So just take a little bit of time and enjoy the aroma of this beer before you get stuck into it. It's really quite an interesting one, I would say that about it for sure. But as I always say, take a little bit of time and enjoy that aroma. That's always half the experience when it comes to things like whiskey, craft beers and sake and stuff like that. But yeah, let's have a taste of this one then. So this one is the India, an IPA at 6.7% from Pivovar, lucky bastard, based in Brno in Moravia in the Czech Republic. Let's get stuck in. Slange, skål, na zdraví. Yeah, that's a pretty solid IPA, this one. I do quite like that. yeah, I mean, this is interesting for me because with this beer, it's got something about it that is just like, it's just kind of distinctly Czech. And that's it's quite a kind of abstract thing to say as a sort of a, you know, as a beer reviewer, if you like, but the malt base in this beer, it really is just distinctively Czech. I mean, I tried quite a few of the different sort of traditional Czech beers in the brew pubs and stuff like that over in Prague and Olomouc and Rožnov and things like that where we were in Czech, and the malt base to this one, it is like a kind of typical sort of a Czech light beer, if that makes sense. It has got a little bit more of a kind of booziness and strength to it because this is a little bit stronger in alcohol than most of the traditional Czech beers, but the flavours that come out of the malt base, you know, it's got that, it just has that Czech traditional quality to it. And you know, this is the second IPA that I've had that has that kind of feel to it in the malt base, and I do quite like that because, you know, it almost is a kind of, it's almost creating like a new sub-style, if you like. This is a Czech IPA. It's got that Czech kind of malt base to it, and you know, the German craft beers that I was trying from Bavaria and stuff like that, these ones that were making IPAs, their malt bases were the same. It was kind of like, they just had that almost Munich Helles style quality in the malt base, and this one has the same with the lighter Czech styles. It really is, it's quite an interesting thing. So try some of the Czech traditional beers, I would say. Try the traditional ones first, and then try these sort of new wave ones, and you'll really see what I mean with that. The malt base, I like it how they keep that little bit of tradition when it comes to actually making the malt bases with these beers, and it is Czech malt from what I gather that they use in their beers at Lucky Bastard. But yeah, there's definitely some element of kind of Czech hops in there as well, but there's got to be a little bit of an American kind of hoppy quality, maybe even a little bit of English hoppy quality coming out of this one as well. But it's quite a refreshing beer, this one, I'll say that about it, and that's what the Czech beer was also good at as well. It was nice and crisp and easy going. So yeah, across the middle of your palate you'll feel that nice kind of white bready quality, that just blankets the middle of your palate. On top of that there's a nice kind of grainy quality there, that comes out a little bit more as you go further and further into the aftertaste. In the middle of the palate there's a little bit of a kind of slightly sweeter biscuity note to this one, but for me it's the graininess that's pushing its way out of this beer a little bit more. The malt base does have just a little touch of bitterness from the kind of grainy qualities that the beer has. But yeah, I like how it kind of comes across. As I say, it's got that traditional kind of Czech malt base to it. It really has that traditional ale kind of backbone, if you like, and I do like how that comes across. On the hoppy side of things, back corners of the palate, there's a little bit of earthiness in there. The earthiness, I think I do wonder if there's a wee bit of English hop in there just from the way the earthiness comes out, because there is a good little bit of a kind of herbal quality to this one as well. If you come just along the front sides of your palate as well, there's a little bit of that kind of, there's a good bit of herbal quality there. Then as you come further forward along to the front corners of your palate, there's a nice kind of slightly more spicy, floral, grassy note coming out of this beer. Then round the very front curve of the palate, it's a little bit lighter and more grassy, I would say. Let's get a little bit more of this out and see how we get on. And then behind the front curve of the palate, of course, that's where you get these nice kind of fruity, juicy esters starting to come out of the beer, and this one definitely is quite interesting in that regard as well. So yeah, for me with this one, just behind the front curve of the palate there's a little bit of a kind of grapefruity quality coming out of this beer, and on top of that, you know, there maybe is a little touch of there's a little bit of a kind of orangey quality starts to come out of the beer as you move further and further into the aftertaste, but then the grapefruit, I think, that kind of almost dark grapefruit flavour just starts to push its way out of this one again. You know, I do wonder if there's a bit of cascade in this beer. It does kind of remind this beer. It's kind of it's got a sort of the hoppy character to this one. It does have a little bit of English quality, like I was saying, but to me this one comes across. It reminds me a lot of a lager that I used to kind of drink at home. That was based on a Czech style lager, the Schiehallion from Harveston. The flavour that comes out of this beer is actually quite similar. So I do reckon there's a bit of cascade in this beer. So I think they're maybe using some English hops and some American cascade as well, because it's mainly the grapefruit that's coming out of this beer, and that's really forming the base layer in there. There is maybe a little touch of orange or something like that coming out, or a kind of lemony citrus in there. But for me, it mainly is a kind of a grapefruity flavour that's coming out of this beer, and there's a little touch of maybe a slight, very, very slightly reddish fruit, almost like a kind of figgy note or something like that coming out of the beer too, which is quite interesting. But for me, this one's a very kind of straight up beer. It's not like the one from Matushka where there was a lot of the kind of big juicy American hops and stuff like that. This one is more brewed to be a kind of traditional type IPA, if that makes sense. It's got the Czech malt base to it, and then it's got a little touch of the American side, and it's got the sort of some of the more English hop qualities to it as well. So it is quite an interesting one. To me, that this beer comes across as being a little bit more old school. It kind of reminds me a little bit of, you know, some of the it's got the same kind of flavour profile, if you like, as like the Sierra Nevada Pale Ale or something like that. So I can see what they're going for with this one. This one, it's almost like a bit like a retro IPA, if that makes sense. I think that's a good way to describe this beer. It's definitely one that's got me thinking a little bit, because I've taken a wee while to describe this. But yeah, it's quite an interesting one, this. So try it for yourself and see what you think. But really, for me, I would say this is it does come across as quite a retro IPA. It's got the Czech malt base, a little bit of English hop quality to it, like the original kind of IPA style does, and then it's got a little bit of that kind of American quality. I'm pretty certain there's some American cascade in this beer, just going by the flavours. But overall, it is a nice beer. I wouldn't hesitate to drink this again. But yeah, I would definitely consider this to be a sort of retro IPA. I think that's probably a very good way to describe it, although I've gone in quite a roundabout way of arriving at that conclusion. But in terms of the mouthfeel of this beer then, I would say mid-bodied. Carbonation is a little bit crisp to this one, but it does have that kind of typical Czech smoothness to it. There's a little bit of an oily mouthfeel there. Malt base, a little bit of sweetness to it, but mainly quite smooth, and there is a little touch of grainy quality coming out of the malt base, like I said. Good little bit of hoppy bitterness. It's not going to blow your head off in terms of IBUs. I'd reckon it's somewhere around maybe the 50-ish mark, maybe 50 or 60 maybe, somewhere around the 50 mark in terms of its IBUs, so it's not going to blow your head off in terms of the IBUs. There's a little bit of juicy fruity quality in there, but overall it is quite nice. And like I say, I think a good way to describe this beer is a sort of retro IPA. It's got the Czech malt base, it's got a little bit of English kind of hop quality to it, which is like the original IPA styles that were sent out to India. And it's also got a little bit of the American thing with the kind of cascade hop. The flavour profile that this beer has on the hops reminds me a little bit of, you know, the kind of Sierra Nevada Pale Ale or something like that. It's not something that's overly complex. It is like a sort of retro IPA, this one. So I think that's a good way to kind of describe this beer. Have a go at it for yourself and see what you think, and do let me know in the comment section below what your own thoughts on this one is. But it's really cool to find another brewery in the Czech Republic that are brewing these sorts of things. It is an interesting beer, and I'm glad that I was able to bring this one back and review it for you. So yeah, let's leave it at that for this one. So this one was the India from Pivovar Lucky Bastard, based in Brno in Moravia in the Czech Republic. A really interesting beer, and one that definitely made me a little think about it a little bit when I was reviewing it. But I'm really glad that I got to review this one, and I hope you guys enjoyed my take on it. So once again, thank you for watching my beer reviews. Until the next time, please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. Let me know your own thoughts on this beer in the comment section below. Let me know what your favourite beers are from Pivovar Lucky Bastard as well. Do get in touch and let me know some of the other Czech beers and breweries that you guys would like me to have a look at. to check out, as I was going to say. But as always, thank you for watching, and I will catch you guys very soon. The India, a 6.7% IPA, quite a retro type IPA, this one, with a traditional Czech malt base from Pivovar, Lucky Bastard in Brno in Moravia in the Czech Republic. Until the next time, Slange just now, and I will catch you guys very soon. Make sure you check out all my social media, and you'll see some more Czech beer reviews over the next little while. Na zdraví.